Hey everyone! Welcome back to the winning scene. Today, we're diving into the thrilling origin story of one of Marvel's most iconic heroes, Captain America, the First Avenger. Strap in, because this is one wild ride from the 1940s to the modern world. Our story begins in World War II, where a young, scrawny Steve Rogers is desperate to serve his country. But there's just one problem. Steve is too weak and sickly to enlist. Despite his best efforts, he's rejected time and time again. But Steve's determination catches the eye of Dr. Abraham Erskine, a scientist working on a top-secret super soldier program. Steve undergoes intense military training, where he's clearly the underdog. But his courage, heart, and selflessness shine through, impressing everyone, including Colonel Chester Phillips and British officer Peggy Carter. Dr. Erskine reveals that he's created a serum that can transform a man into a super soldier. But there's a catch. The serum amplifies who you are inside. Good becomes great, but bad becomes worse. Erskine chooses Steve because of his pure heart. In a stunning transformation, Steve goes from a frail young man to the peak of human perfection, Captain America. But the celebration is short-lived. A Nazi spy assassinates Erskine, steals the last serum, and escapes. Steve chases him down, but the spy kills himself, leaving Steve with more questions than answers. With Erskine dead, the super soldier program is shut down. But Steve isn't done serving his country. He's recruited as a propaganda tool, touring the country as Captain America, selling war bonds and starring in cheesy stage shows. But Steve wants to do more than just entertain. He wants to fight. His chance comes when he learns that his best friend, Bucky Barnes, and the 107th Infantry have been captured by Hydra, a rogue Nazi science division led by the sinister Johann Schmidt, aka the Red Skull. Against orders, Steve launches a daring rescue mission, single-handedly taking down Hydra's base and saving Bucky and hundreds of other prisoners. Johann Schmidt, the Red Skull, is no ordinary villain. He's obsessed with harnessing the power of the Tesseract, a mysterious cosmic cube, to create superweapons and dominate the world. Schmidt has even broken away from Hitler, forming Hydra as his own independent force. With the help of Peggy Carter, Howard Stark, Tony Stark's father, and his newfound team, Steve begins dismantling Hydra's operations across Europe. Along the way, he gets his iconic vibranium shield, the strongest metal on Earth, courtesy of Howard Stark. But the mission takes a tragic turn when Bucky falls to his death during a mission in the Swiss Alps. Heartbroken but determined, Steve presses on, eventually confronting the Red Skull in Hydra's final stronghold. Schmidt has built a massive plane armed with super bombs, ready to destroy the world's major cities. In a climactic battle, Steve boards the plane, destroys the Tesseract's console, and sends Schmidt into a cosmic void. But there's no time to celebrate. The plane is on autopilot, heading straight for New York. The winning scene of the entire film happens next. With no way to land the plane, Steve makes the ultimate sacrifice. He radios Peggy, shares a heartbreaking goodbye, and crashes the plane into the Arctic Ocean, saving millions of lives. Steve's final words to Peggy? "I had a date." Cue the tears, folks, but this isn't the end for Captain America. Decades later, Steve is found frozen in the ice, perfectly preserved. He awakens in a world he doesn't recognize, modern-day New York City. Nick Fury, director of S.H.I.E.L.D., explains that Steve has been asleep for 70 years. Steve struggles to adjust to this new world, but one thing's for sure. His heroism is timeless. And in a post-credit scene, we get a sneak peek at what's to come. Nick Fury approaches Steve with a new mission, hinting at the formation of the Avengers. The stage is set for Earth's mightiest heroes to assemble. And that's the story of Captain America, the First Avenger, a tale of courage, sacrifice, and a hero out of time. 2 years after the Battle of New York, Steve Rogers, aka Captain America, is adjusting to life in the modern world while working for S.H.I.E.L.D. under director Nick Fury. But peace doesn't last long for our super soldier. When a mission to rescue hostages from a S.H.I.E.L.D. ship goes sideways, Steve uncovers a darker agenda at play. Natasha Romanoff, aka Black Widow, is secretly extracting data for Fury, and the mission ends with the mercenary leader Batroc escaping. But what's on that data? And why is Fury so interested? Buckle up, because things are about to get intense. Back at S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters, the Triskelion, Steve learns about Project Insight, a controversial plan to launch 3 helicarriers linked to spy satellites, designed to eliminate threats before they even happen. But Steve isn't buying it. He argues that holding a gun to everyone on Earth isn't protection. It's fear. And when Fury can't decrypt the data Natasha stole, even he starts to question the project's true purpose. Meanwhile, Fury's suspicions put him in danger. On his way to meet Maria Hill, he's ambushed by a mysterious assassin known as the Winter Soldier. Barely escaping, Fury makes it to Steve's apartment, warning him that S.H.I.E.L.D. is compromised. But before Fury can explain further, the Winter Soldier strikes again, shooting Fury through the window. Steve chases the assassin, but he gets away, leaving Fury critically wounded. Fury dies in surgery, or so it seems. The next day, Steve is summoned by Alexander Pierce, a high-ranking S.H.I.E.L.D. official. Pierce accuses Fury of being behind the pirate attack and demands Steve hand over any information Fury shared. But when Steve refuses, Pierce brands him a traitor, and Steve is forced to go on the run. With S.H.I.E.L.D.'s elite strike team hunting him, Steve teams up with Natasha Romanoff. Together, they uncover a hidden S.H.I.E.L.D. bunker in New Jersey, where they meet the preserved consciousness of Arnim Zola, a former Hydra scientist. Zola drops a bombshell. Hydra has been operating within S.H.I.E.L.D. since its inception, manipulating global chaos to make humanity surrender its freedom for security. And now, Hydra's ultimate plan is about to unfold with Project Insight. Steve, Natasha, and their new ally, Sam Wilson, aka Falcon, race to stop Hydra. They discover that Zola created a data mining algorithm that can predict future threats to Hydra's plans. The Insight helicarriers will use this algorithm to eliminate millions of people worldwide. But Hydra isn't going down without a fight. The winning scene happens next as the Winter Soldier returns. Steve Rogers and Natasha Romanoff are on the run after being branded traitors by S.H.I.E.L.D. They're ambushed on a highway by the Winter Soldier and a team of Hydra operatives. What follows is a high-octane, edge-of-your-seat battle that showcases Captain America's combat skills and introduces the Winter Soldier as a formidable foe. And during a brutal confrontation, Steve realizes the assassin is none other than his long-lost friend, Bucky Barnes. In a desperate final act, Steve and Sam infiltrate the helicarriers to replace their control chips, while Natasha and Fury expose Hydra's secrets to the world. But the Winter Soldier isn't done yet. He destroys Sam's suit and engages Steve in an epic battle on the 3rd helicarrier. Despite Steve's refusal to fight his old friend, the ship crashes into the Triskelion, sending Steve plummeting into the Potomac River. In a surprising twist, Bucky saves Steve's life before disappearing into the shadows. With S.H.I.E.L.D. in ruins, Natasha testifies before Congress, while Fury goes underground to hunt down Hydra's remaining cells. Steve and Sam vow to track down Bucky, setting the stage for future adventures. And in a mid-credits scene, we get a glimpse of Hydra's next move. Experimenting with superhuman abilities using Loki's scepter. The Age of Miracles has begun. And that's the thrilling recap of Captain America, the Winter Soldier. Our story kicks off with the Avengers on a mission in Lagos, where they're trying to stop Crossbones and his mercenaries from stealing a biological weapon. During the fight, Wanda Maximoff, Scarlet Witch, accidentally uses her powers to redirect an explosion, causing collateral damage and the deaths of innocent Wakandan humanitarian workers. This incident sparks global outrage, and the United Nations introduces the Sokovia Accords, a set of laws designed to regulate the Avengers. The team is split. Tony Stark, Iron Man, haunted by his role in creating Ultron and the destruction of Sokovia, supports the Accords. But Steve Rogers, Captain America, believes the Avengers should remain independent, trusting their own judgment over government oversight. One by one, the Avengers choose sides. Tony, Rhodes, and Vision sign the Accords, while Clint, Wanda, and Sam stand with Steve. Natasha Romanoff, Black Widow, is torn between the two sides, unsure of where her loyalty lies. The stage is set for an epic showdown. Things take a dark turn when a bomb goes off at a UN conference in Vienna, killing King T'Chaka of Wakanda. Security footage pins the blame on Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier. T'Chaka's son, T'Challa, Black Panther, vows revenge, setting off a global manhunt for Bucky. Steve, refusing to believe his old friend is responsible, teams up with Sam to find Bucky before the authorities do. But when they catch up to him in Bucharest, chaos erupts. T'Challa, now the Black Panther, joins the fray, and Bucky is captured. Bucky is taken to a high-security facility, where he's interrogated by Everett Ross. But Zemo, posing as a psychiatrist, uses Bucky's Hydra trigger words to brainwash him into a violent rampage. Bucky escapes, leading to a thrilling chase through the streets. Steve, Sam, and T'Challa eventually subdue him, but the damage is done. Bucky's reputation is further tarnished. Meanwhile, a shadowy figure named Helmut Zemo is pulling the strings. Zemo, a Sokovian intelligence officer who lost his family in the Ultron disaster, is determined to destroy the Avengers from within. He tracks down Bucky's old Hydra handler, steals a book of brainwashing trigger words, and uses them to manipulate Bucky into a violent rampage. Zemo's real goal? To uncover the location of a secret Hydra base in Siberia, where 5 other super soldiers are kept in cryosleep. But Zemo doesn't want to use them. He wants to destroy them and tear the Avengers apart. With Bucky in hiding and Zemo on the loose, Steve decides to take matters into his own hands. He recruits Wanda, Clint, and Scott Lang, Ant-Man, to stop Zemo. But Tony, now leading the Pro Accords team, intercepts them at Leipzig Airport. What follows is one of the most epic superhero battles in MCU history. Team Cap versus Team Iron Man, with Black Panther, Spider-Man, and Vision thrown into the mix. The fight is intense, with standout moments like Ant-Man becoming Giant Man, and Spider-Man using his web-slinging skills to take on Cap. In the end, Steve and Bucky escape, leaving the rest of Team Cap captured and imprisoned. Tony, realizing Bucky was framed, tracks Steve and Bucky to the Siberian Hydra base. There, they discover Zemo's true plan: to show Tony footage of Bucky killing his parents during a 1991 Hydra mission. This revelation shatters Tony, who had no idea his parents' deaths were orchestrated by Hydra. Betrayed and enraged, Tony turns on Steve and Bucky. The fight is brutal. Tony disables Bucky's arm, and Steve destroys Tony's armor. In the end, Steve leaves his shield behind, symbolizing the fracture of their friendship. With Zemo captured and the Avengers irreparably divided, the fallout is devastating. Tony helps Rhodes recover from his injuries, while Steve breaks his allies out of prison. Bucky, seeking redemption, chooses to return to cryosleep in Wakanda until a cure for his brainwashing is found. And in true Marvel fashion, we get 2 post-credit teases: Bucky in cryosleep and Peter Parker testing a new gadget. The Avengers may be broken, but the fight isn't over. And that's the story of Captain America: Civil War, a tale of loyalty, betrayal, and the cost of power. It's not just a battle of fists, but of ideals. Whose side are you on? Team Cap or Team Iron Man? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more Marvel breakdowns. Until next time.